I think we're live. um, Hi, everyone, and welcome to my first ever live stream here on YouTube. My name is Moa. I'm the Swedish Whiskey Girl, as I'm sure a lot of you know already. Because it's my birthday tomorrow, I thought it'd be fun to just have a little dram, answer some questions perhaps. And of course, Cody was kind enough to have a dram with me. And if there's any problems with sound or so, please let me know. I really hope there won't be any technical issues, but that's just the charm of a live stream, I guess.
Yeah, should be fine. Just gonna have some whiskey.
Yes.
Can't go wrong.
Can't go wrong with that.
No.
And I already see I've got some lovely birthday wishes, both from Florida, and I see Matthew and Tony are here. So great to see you guys. Hi, and Slanjava. Let me know what you're having if you're having a dram. I'm just about to pour myself a dram, and I think Cody is as well.
Yes, I have a single cask port Glenallachie here, which sounds great. Got it from a friend the other day, but I totally forgot about it. I put my jacket on today and it fell out my pocket. So literally dropping drams as I walk at the moment. So I'd like to see if it's any good.
Yeah, it sounds lovely. So, I have a really old bottling. Yeah. Looks pink.
Pink, yeah.
I have an old bottling of Highland Queen that I got from a friend called Justine, and I just have a little bit left of it, so I thought, why not have that pour today? I see someone's poured a Puni Alba. Nice. I've tried that one actually and really enjoyed it. It's always interesting with whiskey from around the world. And as some of you might already know, if you haven't guessed from my name, I am from Sweden. Cody is from Scotland, and we're quite fascinated by whiskey from all over the world, of course. Yeah.
Yes.
Tastes it good?
Pretty good. Do you want to try it?
Sure. And we are in the same bubble, which is why we are so generous with our glasses.
Those things are weird. It's always been weird.
It's weird, but it's a really old bottling. I don't know if you saw, but the labeling, really old and beautiful. I really like it. Well, I thought we could start with some questions. I've got some questions from Instagram, so I'm going to read some of those. But if you guys have any questions, please feel free to just jump in. Let's see where to start. Well, we can start with this easy one. Are you single? No, I'm not. And that's thanks to him. And then someone asked if we watched the rugby. We did. I watched the last 10 minutes, but you watched all of it.
Yeah.
And we're very happy. Scotland. Finally. Just checking. Thank you so much for all the birthday wishes. And see someone drinking some High Coast, some Swedish whiskey. How lovely. Let's see some other questions. Ooh, this is an easy question, but a really difficult one. What's my favorite whiskey? What's your favorite whiskey? What's your favorite whiskey?
Whatever you're pouring. No, I have no idea. There's so many good whiskies. It's really hard to narrow it down to one.
Yeah.
A strong one for when I'm in a pub or a bar, just because I know it's always good and it's normally there. It's just Talisker 10.
Talisker 10. Yeah, I mean, it's a lovely one.
I quite like Talisker. But really hard to say what's my favorite.
I don't know if I would say something and then my brain would go, no, what about this one? And my brain initially wants to say Glenlivet Nadura first full ex-bourbon, but I haven't tried in ages, so I'm not sure. But I do like something juicy, something ex-bourbon, but also like something quirky. You see, I'm already talking myself in way different directions. And I see we have some Swedish people in the chat. That's lovely to see. Kev's here. He's on the Tam de 12.
I've got your dram, Kev.
Very generous, Kev, with his whiskey. And Glenkinchie Distillers Edition from Matthew. Glenlivet 18 is someone's favourite whiskey. Nice. I haven't had Glenlivet 18 in ages. Oh, Ardbeg 10. That's a good one. Definitely. I don't know if I could answer that question. I'm really sorry, but something ex-bourbon and juicy.
Any other questions?
Yes. What Swedish whiskies have you tried? I've tried quite a few. I've never tried anything from Ven, which is on the west coast. I've tried an 8-year-old Exoterns from Smögen. I've tried quite a few different Mackmyras. I've tried some from High Coast, and I've also been lucky enough to try samples from the new, what's it called? Agitator distillery, which is coming soon. Or I think they have spirit that is of age next year. So that's very exciting. What Swedish whiskies have you tried? The ones I've tried?
Everything
you've
yeah.
basically.
And Kev, yeah, it's really good. It's really nice. Question for the chat. What do you think of my glasses? Yes or no? I quite like them, but I'm not quite sure.
I really like them. I think they look great.
I think they look quite dignified.
So Cody wears glasses when he does whiskey tastings to look smarter.
Just to look smarter. They're my master glasses for master classes of whiskey. If you ask a good question, I'll put the glasses on. Otherwise, you're not getting them. You're not getting the glasses.
Only difficult questions.
If it's a really good question, glasses go on. So you're talking about distillation. It's the best way to do it.
Well, let's see if we can get a question for you. Oh, this one was a really interesting one. Is the Swedish whiskey scene there, nearly there, or have a little way to go in competing with Scotch whiskey? Someone said you have a John Lennon vibe.
I'll take it.
This is a tricky question, so I don't know if they deserve the glasses, but I don't compare Swedish whiskey to Scotch whiskey. I think they're very, very different. And of course, it depends what you mean with a question like that. If you're thinking about age statements and kind of the technical aspects of things, then obviously Sweden is about 30 years away from having a 50-year-old, which is, I'm not going to say common, but you will find a lot of distilleries that have whiskey that old because the whiskey history in Scotland is that long. But because Sweden is so different, they have a different kind of knowledge and they have a different kind of way that they can work with the whiskey. I don't like comparing them. I don't know what you would say.
Yeah, it's hard to compare. There's some fantastic whiskies outside of Scotland, right across the world now. Same way world wine is amazing. You can get great wine pretty much anywhere. That doesn't mean that French wine hasn't lost that sort of mystique and sort of premium feel to it, which I think Scotch has just because of the history it has behind it. And I don't think that'll ever go away. So I don't know if world whiskey can ever compete with Scotch for that particular mindset, that sort of mystique and prestige and status. Well, but for flavour, you can get great flavoured Scotches, whiskies anywhere.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of people will always turn to Scotch whiskey as kind of the this is what everything else should be like. But I think there's so much new world whiskey from Italy, from Switzerland, from Taiwan that is never going to be like Scotch because they have such different rules or climates or anything like that. So it's fascinating. So we got a question here from Scottish Whiskey Guy on Instagram. I'm so glad you could make it. Yeah, I like your name. What was your first experience with the whiskey? Well, mine was through Cody, because me and Cody actually met the day after he started working in the whiskey industry. And he brought home little samples. And I mean, my first whiskey experience was probably my dad just being like, try this, tried it. And I was like, burns, it all tastes the same, probably all smoky because my dad likes Lagavulin. But then we tried some samples together, learning where the flavor comes from. Is it from the maturation? Is it from the stills? Where can it come from? And that caught my interest. And then you brought home the wonderful whiskey that is Ardbeg 10, and I couldn't resist it.
It was the one I didn't think she'd like. She liked it the best, which was weird.
I like being a surprise.
Yeah, that was the one you fell in love with, really.
Before you. No, I'm just kidding. You have a good one, though, a story for how you got into whiskey.
Yeah, I mean, my granddad was a big whiskey drinker. I remember we were never really allowed fizzy drinks at my parents' house. It wasn't that we weren't allowed it, it was just mum and dad never bought it. But we would have them when I went to my granddad's. And I remember being out playing football and I came in and I got a glass of Coke or whatever. And I remember saying, Coca-Cola is the best drink in the world. This is so nice. And my granddad was like, rubbish, whiskey. That's the best drink in the world. And he gave me a little nip at the time and it was awful, hated it. But later on, sort of last year at university, I was doing geography at Edinburgh. And I needed a dissertation topic. So I did it on whiskey. So the relationship between Scotland and whiskey, how Scotland has benefited from its whiskey industry and conversely how the whiskey industry itself benefited from the nation of Scotland. And during that time, my granddad was a little unwell. He had dementia. He was kind of losing it, to be honest. And it was really hard to connect. But when you talked about whiskey, a light would shine in his eyes, and you could actually have a conversation with him. And that was quite a powerful and sort of magical moment where you could sit down and actually have a convo with him, as long as it was about whiskey, because it was that one thing he sort of responded to.
That's kind of thing you responded to.
Yeah, it's like, pretty much. Yeah, I'm not listening to anything she says. Do you want a dram? What? Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. I'll probably get it from him, to be honest. So yeah, it's that connection. A lot of people's favorite whiskey is going to be the one their mum liked, the one their dad liked, the one their granddad liked, the first one they had, the first one they had in a special place. It's that connection to place and whiskey, which can be make the drink so special. And it's the friends and stuff you make as well. You see other people in the chat, just tuning in to watch us.
Which is why it's so great, because I miss meeting people. I just want to meet people and talk a little bit about whiskey or just life. And I thought this would be a great opportunity to kind of get to chat a little bit to you guys. So I'm so glad you're interacting in the chat. I saw that Scottish Whiskey Guy said he sounds like he has a quite similar upbringing to you as well.
Pretty much every Scottish upbringing. Yeah.
Well, that's nice to hear. Someone else asked, what are our day jobs or careers? And I currently work, after working 2 different whiskey jobs with the Scotch Whisky Experience and then the Scotch Malt Whisky Society as events coordinator, I now run my own business through Swedish Whiskey Girl, and I also work with ski travel sales, mainly because love ski travel and I get to go to France, not right now of course, but I get to ski quite often, but also because it's a job that is completely separate from whiskey, so there's no kind of, what's it called, conflict of interest. And I would love to build Swedish Whiskey Girl, and I also do another thing under a brand called Scandinavian Abroad. I hope to be able to build these 2 little entities enough to be working with it full time one day. Hard work, but we're slowly getting there.
Yeah, it can be hard to do what Moa does if you work for a particular brand, because obviously you have to be quite brand loyal, so it's hard to be subjective.
Now I'm just whiskey loyal. Yeah, most of the time.
If you work with whiskey, and you can say whatever you want about whiskey. Yeah. I would still work at the Scotch Whisky Experience. I'm on the tasting team there, so we do corporate events, sort of higher end tastings and stuff, as well as pretty much everything, bar work, shop work, all that kind of stuff. So it's just talking to people about whiskey. Most of the time they don't know much about it. If they do know a little bit about it,
the glasses come on.
I'll explain it. So yeah, that's pretty much what I do.
Yeah. I know we had a question from Instagram as well asking if I do any tastings, and I do. I prefer sitting down with people like face to face and just inviting people into the world of whiskey, and hopefully a welcoming and friendly way. It would be lovely doing them virtually, but it's quite tricky sending whiskey in the post. But yeah, definitely will be doing more tastings soon. And I also do little like educational masterclasses. If anyone's curious in learning more, I'll just have a little Zoom chat and we can chat it through. I also had quite a funny question from Barry, who said, how do I convince my wife that I'm not an alcoholic because I like drinking whiskey? I have not convinced my mom yet, so that is a good question.
It can definitely be hard. I mean, I remember having that conversation with one of my uncles, actually. We were at a pub and I ordered a dram. He was like, you're just drinking that neat, because he didn't drink whiskey at all. And I was like, yeah, I'm just drinking it neat. And it wasn't a strong whiskey. I think it was 40 ABV, so it was pretty much as low as it goes. So 25 milliliters, which is going to be your standard pour here in Scotland, is what we would call 1 unit of alcohol for 40 ABV. And he was having a beer, which was quite a strong beer. I think it was probably like 2.8 units maybe. So if I had a second whiskey, and he was like, mate, you should slow down. And I was like, that's not even as much alcohol as you've had in your 1 beer. Never mind, the fact that I've had 2 of these. And he was on his like 3rd pint. So I think some people just don't realize that if you're taking your time with whiskey, because it's such a smaller quantity that you're having, it's not as strong. People smash through gin and tonics when they're outside because it's so easy to drink. And yet, if you sit there with a neat whiskey, you don't realize that gin and tonic's the exact same strength.
Yeah.
It's just got tonic in it. It's the same strength. So.
I also think the whiskey audience is quite nice because they know the work that goes into the dram and they want to appreciate it. So you can sit there with a dram or two. I mean, I know my friends can smash through quite a lot of drams. Kev, I'm looking at you.
Yeah, Kev.
No, but I mean, I've been guilty of doing that too. But I think a lot of the people that want to drink whiskey want to savor it and drink it, and you know that it's been at least over 3 years of work going into that. So most often a lot longer. So I think a lot of people really appreciate whiskey, but I think if you're not a whiskey drinker, you don't really understand it. It's like they're not invited to the club, but maybe we'll just have to try our best to invite them.
Yeah, I mean, starting with things like highballs, such an easy whiskey cocktail, you know, something really, really light.
Cast strength. I'm just kidding.
No, but like a highball can be your sort of gin and tonic replacement, your sort of step in for people that aren't really big whiskey drinkers.
Yeah, whiskey and tonic.
Soda water, ginger ale and whiskey, a little bit lemon, some honey sometimes to make it a little sweeter. You know, you can start by introducing people to those things and they can really like it. They can move on to a cocktail that's maybe a little more whiskey forward, like an old fashioned or a Manhattan or whatever. And then from there, maybe move into actually drinking neat whiskey, or do what Moa does and not like anything. You give her our Big Ten, then she drinks whiskey every day. So
yeah,
it just depends.
We have a few more questions coming in. I can barely keep track, and I see a lot of familiar faces. Christopher's tuned in. Hi. And let me see. Someone asked if we've tried Clynelish. Yes, I have. Nice. And I know a lot of independent bottling, so Clynelish are really lovely. Someone asked, what are your top 5 whiskies? His would be, Daniel's would be Teenston 12, Arran 10, Lagavulin 16, Ardbeg 10, Springbank 12. Love the
great
collection.
lineup.
Yeah. I don't know. Ardbeg 10 and 4 other whiskies. No, probably Cavalan, Solace, Vigneau Barrique. Really like that one. Bren, French single malt.
That's a split opinion whiskey. If you like really sweet whiskey, you'll like it. If you're more into your classic Scotchy flavors, you probably won't like it. So it depends.
Blanton single cask. Or single barrel, I think it's called, and Glenmorangie Milshin, which is also a bit of a niche one because of my connection to it. Cody got it for me when I was about to be hospitalized for my appendicitis. Do you have a top 5?
No. As I said, if I'm at a bar and I can try a whiskey I've not tried over trying one that I know I like, I'll try the one I don't like.
I agree.
To be honest, I actually prefer whiskies I absolutely hate more than a whiskey that means nothing to me and I'll totally forget it. If I have a whiskey and the next day I couldn't tell you what it tastes like, that's useless. If I had a whiskey and it was awful, at least I remember it. And at the end of the day, it was worth my money because it's a memory that I have. Some whiskies just sit that middle ground where they're not great, they're not awful, they're just disposable. And they're the ones that I dislike more. I'd rather have an awful whiskey than a
They're quite fun because when I did the judging for the World Whiskies Awards a few weeks ago, which was such an honor to be a part of it, a lot of the whiskies are like between a specific, like they're around like 7. They might be between like 6.8 and 7.2.
Out of 10.
Out of 10, yeah. And it's very specific. So that just means it's a good whiskey, has some complexity, but not outstanding. Because anything under 6 is almost bad. But it's a lot of whiskies fall there. So if something's really bad, it's almost more fun to judge than, or of course, it's something really good. Because you don't come across whiskies that are bad in a quality sense. I know a lot of people might have opinions on what tastes good or not, like your personal opinion, but if it's a quality, like a fault in a whiskey, that's almost more fascinating than something that's there a little bit forgettable.
Yeah, it's
maybe.
very, very rare you try a faulty whiskey because it'll almost never be seen, it'll never be bottled. Whether you like it or not, it's kind of...
Yeah, I think a lot of people would discover if it's a bad barrel when they open it because you can kind of get the scent. That's what I've heard from people.
You did try one faulty one though.
Yeah.
Awful. Really bad.
I said dog food in a bad way. I have said dog food on my channel for whiskey that is nice, but this was dog food in a bad way. People said like...
It was the worst whiskey I've ever... As soon as you put it to your nose, it felt like rotten food.
I gave it Cody as a blind dram.
It was incredible. Like you might try whiskey you dislike, whiskey that you're like, oh, that's not for me. But this was like pungent. It was terrible. And that's the kind of whiskey that you'll actually never try unless it's at one of these things where they're sending out samples for review and stuff. So it's all subjective, really.
Getting so many nice birthday wishes makes me so happy. Thank you. And someone here said, sort us out with some snowy trips. We're big snowboarders. I mean, wouldn't it be great to do like a whiskey and skiing trip?
You've been trying to think of that. You go up north.
Yeah.
You do some skiing or whatnot. You make a fire.
Maybe
you get out some single cask whiskies.
Yeah.
You all sit around it. It's some sort of like trip thing that you organise. Yeah. That'd be so good.
Maybe do some yoga as well, mountain yoga. I think that'd be great. I mean, Cody cannot sit on the floor with his legs straight, so he might need the yoga and whiskey. I think we'll start with the yoga.
I'll bring a chair. No,
and you'll watch.
I'll watch with the whiskey, so that's fine by me.
And this guy said he's also been to Edinburgh. It was lovely, and he went to Mary King's Close. I actually went there as a part of my freshers week when I moved here to study, and I cried because it was so scary. And it's not scary.
No, one of my best friends is a manager there.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool, actually. The history around Edinburgh is
amazing.
Really interesting.
Yeah, it's an incredible city. So I hope you guys will be able to come visit. And if you do, say hi. Stop for a drown. Just checking here. Tony says Kilkerran 12, Ardbeg 10, Deanston 12. Does one need other whiskies? It's nice to see when people have found like their little trio of things that they really enjoy. Let's see. What are the qualities you like in a whiskey? Good question. At the moment, I really, really like a juicy whiskey that it has a hint of a bitterness because it adds another layer to it, but it's not too bitter, it's not too woody. It's that kind of, I like a little bit of sweetness. I prefer like sweet, fruity, juicy most of the time. And in a peated whiskey, I want often towards a bonfire smoke or more kind of charcoaly than your kind of gritty coastal elements. That is just, I want more than 2 layers. I want a whiskey that kind of you can sit with and kind of keep developing as you try it. So you're like, oh, there's something and there's something. And the more you try it, the more you can find it instead of going, oh, this is nice. It's that and that. And that's where it stops. I don't know if that makes sense at all. But,
yeah. I mean, it shows the differences people have when it comes to flavour because I know that Moa often says she isn't a big fan of some sherry cask whiskies that are too woody, too wood forward. Whereas other times she'll give it to me and I'll be like, that's pretty good actually. I quite like a woody whiskey.
And I like a weird whiskey sometimes as well.
And you're a big fan of first fill bourbon. A lot of people like bourbon cask whiskies, but maybe their eyes are drawn to your port, your sherry, your Madeira, your wine, your whatever. But first fill bourbon just kind of ticks your boxes. So everyone's different, and that's why you have to kind of make up your own mind with whiskey. Still watch your videos. Don't stop doing that. It helps us out. But you do have to make up your own mind with whiskey.
That's what I try to do with my reviews. I try to say what flavors and aromas I'm getting, and then leave it up to people to decide if they like that, if they don't.
That's why you don't do a scoring system, isn't it?
Exactly. And I think scoring systems are tricky because I only do them when I'm judging whiskey. And when I'm judging whiskey, what is scoring highest, it's always what I like the best. I'm doing a video on this soon where I explain it a little bit better, hopefully. I just saw that Mike is stopping by. He's out walking, but wanted to say hi. And I really, really appreciate it. Thank you. It's so fun to talk to you guys. I feel like this is such a good way to really interact with you, even though we can't really meet. I've been thinking about maybe doing some kind of drama long evening on Zoom, but didn't know if anyone would be interested because then we can actually talk to each other. But it's also tricky because then people talk over each other. So I hope you enjoy this. And if you do, hopefully we can do it again. I'll see. Someone asked if it'd gone bad in the bottle or in the cask. I'm guessing you're talking about the one that I tried in the judging.
I think that must have been cask.
I think cask because everyone that had that sample said there was something wrong with it because you're in little groups trying them.
I mean, it could have been an off bottle, but
yeah,
it was.
If you're sending it off for judging,
the whole group knew instantly that was.
And if you're sending off for judging, surely you would check it because this is such a prestigious award. If you're going to check it, then
maybe it would be bottle. Don't know.
Yeah,
is the answer. Don't know.
I don't know. Whiskey and skiing boarding trip. Lovely. And we have some company for it as well. Someone having entered our 12. Oh, that's a nice whiskey. We had it in Paris. Was that? No, we had a Caledonia.
Had the Caledonia in Paris. That was fun. That's when Moa started her Instagram. We went to Paris 2.5 years ago.
Yeah, something
She
like
took
that.
a lot of photos, so I kind of suggested that maybe she starts a whiskey Instagram. You were originally the PT, weren't you?
Yeah, because I wanted to be a personal trainer and I loved peated whiskey. So the peated PT was going to be my name, but it didn't really roll off the tongue. And I also didn't tell Cody I was starting the Instagram, even though we discussed it. And I was like, oh, yeah, that might be a good idea. And I started it. And after a few weeks, he started following me and he was like, what's this?
Yeah. I mean, you didn't post pictures of yourself at first, but I was like, this person's been everywhere we've been. I was there. That's the whiskey I had. And I was like, actually, that's Mo, isn't it? And she started that Instagram. It's funny, though, because we got an Airbnb in Paris. And sort of, I got there and I was like, right, where's the nearest whiskey bar? That's the reason I'm here. So I look it up and it literally said it was on our Airbnb. Like I was looking at it and it was like on top of me. And I was like, Wi-Fi must not be working in this place. Doesn't make any sense. So we went downstairs to go out for food or whatnot. We came back and I looked at it again. It turned out there was a sake shop, like just below us, pretty much. And underneath the sake shop was a whiskey bar called Golden Promise in Paris. And it was incredible. Really, really nice whiskey bar. Really nice cocktails. It had a bar. And then behind it, they had a vault. You went through the vault and it had like one of the biggest collections of Japanese whiskey in Europe or something like that.
I remember that.
Crazy.
Yeah,
it was
because
mental.
The bartender, we started chatting to him and he was very nice and recommended things. And that's where I actually tried the Blantons for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
Not because we bought it, but because when we got the bill, he was like, dude, here's like a little sip with your bill. And I was like, this is a lovely place. I wish everyone did this. Yeah. And it was so lovely and asked what it was. And that's why I bought this Blanton's Gold for my, was it the anniversary?
Yeah. 1 year anniversary is like a remembrance.
Yeah. And it's
still one gift. Didn't sound like that,
to myself. But yeah, it's a lovely dram. But it was a really interesting thing. And he was like, oh, do you want to see the vault? And we were like, okay, what are you talking about? Like, the place was a tiny, tiny little bar and it was quite dark. And then behind us, there was a door that we hadn't really noticed. And we were like, I'm not sure we can afford it because we thought it was some kind of attraction or something.
I thought either we were going to pay a lot of money or I was going to be murdered.
Yeah.
It was sort of one of those
the vibes.
Things. Yeah.
But then he was like, oh, no, it's fine. I'll just show you. And
we went into the vault and then a man in a lab coat came out and I was like, damn, we're definitely getting murdered. It's that one. Of the two options, it's that. Then the man in the lab coat sent us through the next room and it had all the whiskies.
Yeah, it was really, really amazing.
Life.
Yeah. And it was hidden. It's a lovely, lovely place. And we went back to that bar about 2 times.
Yeah, we went the night before we flew back, which was a terrible decision. On the plane, on the plane, I fainted and she
had a panic attack.
Because we were so hungover on the plane. Oh, it was so funny. It was such a bad flight. We were drinking cocktails till like 2 a.m. because our flight was at like 4.
Yeah.
So we're like, we'll just stay in the bar. That would make sense. It's genius. No, because by the time you're in the sky, that's exactly when the hangover hits. And oh my God, it was awful.
I was in the back of the plane with an oxygen mask and Cody was in the front of the plane, like laying down on the seats. I
tried to go to the bathroom, but I think I fainted on the way in.
Yeah.
Because I woke up half in, half out on the plane bathroom.
We got croissants.
Yeah. They were like, the Scots flying back to Scotland. Clearly had too much wine. It wasn't wine, it was whiskey. And it was Edinburgh Caledonia, the most Scottish whiskey you can get.
Yeah. Oh, I see someone's asked about grain whiskey here. Vegas Art saying your abundance of grain whiskey has got my interest, but I haven't had much luck finding any here in the US. Do you recommend any online sites that sell some? OSOC, someone else has responded. Support Dundas. I don't really know my American retailers that well.
What's the question?
Finding grain whiskey in the US.
I don't know.
I'm trying to think which ones you would be able to find if you're struggling a little bit with it. So I'm thinking maybe
if anyone in the chat knows the answer to that,
that'd be great.
Stick it in for I don't know. Only know how to buy stuff here.
Yeah. Well, I hope someone else can help you, but I would love to hear what you think of it when you try it. And I saw that Scottish Whiskey Guy is a way to do a review of Talisker Storm. Good luck.
Nice.
And then Andrew asked, best whiskey under £75. Depends what you like.
Also depends what you have.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, best whiskey under 75. The tricky thing is, do you mean something that's like 73, 74 pounds or something that's like 25 pounds? It's such a big category of price that you could get something lovely like Cardiff Stark Prohibition.
That's super cheap.
Super cheap, yeah.
It depends what you want.
But then you can get 3 of it for
I've
75.
seen a lot of love in the chat for Deanston.
Yeah.
Deanston 12s are great whiskey. You've not got that. If you want something smoky, you can get Ardbeg, you can get Talisker. You can get a lot for £75. A lot of time, I think that whiskey you can get pretty much a whiskey in any sort of flavour category that's really, really good for under 100. So 75, whatever flavour bracket you're looking for, there's something there that you can get for under 100 quid. So
yeah,
I'm sure you'll find something.
But if you have any specific kind of what you like or so, just send me a message and we can see if we can recommend anything as well. I saw that Kev is giving you telling you that fantasy football, how that's going.
Yeah, Suchik got sent off, which is good because I didn't play on Kevin, so it's fine. Fine.
And Mike's saying that hedonism might be widely available in the US. I know that can be a little bit spinny because
hedonism is lovely though. That was your first bottle.
Yeah, it was the first bottle I owned because I won it in a raffle. But it's been hinted that there's some older grain going into it, which I think is why the price tag's quite a lot. But someone also said Nika coffee grain available in the US. That's also good. Lovely. And there's a lot of praise for it. So that one might be one that's slightly less expensive. A great value whiskey is Glen Scotia Double Cask. I agree. I would recommend that to anyone going into my former work. It would just be like this one. The
Double Cask it's almost a meme at our work because it's our best-selling whiskey at the Scotch Whisky Experience. It sounds a bit weird because Glen Scotia is not normally seen as one of the big brands. The reason it sells so well is we represent all the different regions, so Lowlands, Highlands, Speyside, Campbeltown, Islay. But the only Campbeltown we have is Glen Scotia. And you have to opt in to be with us, and we represent about 90-ish% of all distilleries, but you do have to need to be with us. And since Springbank so fiercely independent and they own Kilkerran, they are not with us. So we only have Glen Scotia. And the Double Cask therefore gets sort of overrepresented compared to a lot of other bottles because you always see it because it's the only one we can give. And you're like, what kind of Campbeltown do you want? You can have anything from the Glen Scotia range, and we'll go for the cheapest one. Okay, here's the Double Cask,
which also is lovely, which
everyone seems to like. Yeah. Everyone loves it. So when people are like, what's something from a smaller region that I can get that's nice, and you're like Double Cask.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I want to try something from Campbeltown. What should I try? Double Cask.
I want to try something sherry, not too expensive.
Double Cask. Yeah. and everyone and just like it. So it's a good whiskey.
Oh, I see that John's here. Hi, John. I just want to say actually, John Drinks, who's just commented, is one of my favorite, probably my favorite YouTuber when it comes to drinks. And I'm not just saying that because
she's only saying that because he's a bartender and a bar near us, and she wants cheaper pints once everything goes back to normal.
I don't drink pints. But yeah, John's brilliant.
I see through her lies, John. You're mediocre at best.
So rude. Tonio said his favourite Port Charlotte 10, Ardbeg 10, Kilkerran 12, Lagavulin 16, and either Clynelish or Talisker. Edward Signatory on Chill Filtered 10 is lovely as well. Is that the one we have, or do you have the other one?
What one?
You have an Edward that is like Coca-Cola dark.
I'll have a look.
And Sheila's here as well. I hope that's how I say the name. Whiskey Central. It's lovely. John said he loves you too, Cody. Best whiskey under £75, Ardbeg Ugadale. That's a good shout, actually. Really lovely. We have whiskies all around the house at the moment. We have a big shelf over there, and then we have a little few things on the floor everywhere, and then we have where Cody is now looking for drams.
It's right in the bag.
Of course it is. But it's we have a little cupboard where Cody is now, where we have some unopened bottles that are just kind of hiding away. This is not a 10-year-old. This is the unchill filtered Signatory Vintage Edward Dower distilled 2009. Lovely. But we haven't opened it, so we'll wait for a special occasion. I think so.
Is it not 10 years?
Maybe it is. I could just
see it. I can't remember. Look at the colour of that. Ridiculous. It's like Coca-Cola, but darker.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's 10 years old.
Okay.
2009 to 2019.
So maybe it's a similar one.
Yeah.
This is water, by the way. And I see you mentioned Port Charlotte 10. I think that won Best Whiskey of the Year at the Whiskey Exchange.
Won some award, yeah. Whiskey Exchange, I think. Yeah.
So it's a lot of fun to see all the awards that's been going out. I mean, especially because I won something yesterday, which was incredible. I wasn't expecting it all, but I won Whiskey Communicator of the Year for Scotland in the Icons of Whiskey Awards from the Whiskey Magazine, which was a lot of fun.
My dad left her a thing.
What
Just
did you?
drink Famous Grouse. Full litre bottle of Famous Grouse at the Calcutta Cup. That's what you need.
What is the Calcutta Cup?
It is the cup you win for beating England at the rugby.
Famous Grouse. Well, surely it would be Johnny Walker because they're the sponsors, or Guinness. Maybe a mix.
Yeah, anything above 50 ABV.
Yeah. Well, we should have a little toast to Scotland, definitely.
Also, speaking of toasts, you got to mention your award that you won recently.
That was just what I was talking about.
Oh, was I away getting whiskey?
No, you sat right next to me.
Oh, well, I just don't listen to her. Did you want to do the reviews thing then?
Yes, let's play a game. So if you've seen the channel, you might have seen this whiskey game that we played quite recently. Basically, you look up a review on, we usually use the biggest retailers like Master Malt or the Whiskey Exchange, and then you look at really bad reviews and really good reviews, and then the opposite person has to guess what whiskey it is. Tends to be Scotch and core range, but please guess along if you want. I just see we have a question here before. In the US, we're seeing big price hikes, even considering the tariffs in Scotch prices, especially in expressions older than 12. Are you seeing those in the UK too?
Yes and no. Some brands have been creeping up with their pricing. Others have stayed a little bit consistent. A lot of the times, it depends where you're buying from. If it's a sort of standard bottling and you can get in a supermarket, you tend to be able to get reasonably cheap. Even Amazon here in the UK can be pretty good for pricing, depending on the bottles that are coming out. Sometimes you get quite good pricing on whiskies from Amazon. When it's something a little bit more niche, and if it is a higher age statement, then yeah, they tend to be just every year they're going up and up and up and up.
They're almost challenging it a little bit because they know that they might have an audience that is quite loyal, and they kind of push it up to see where the limit is, where they won't pay it anymore, which I think is a little bit of a shame, especially with a few particular brands I won't actually mention, but they have such a cult following and people that really, really care about the whiskey. And when they just make it not so accessible anymore, I think it's very much of a shame, because I know a lot of brands that I would love to buy whiskey from, but I can't because I can't afford it. And it's, yeah. I mean, we all wish that whiskey was affordable, but that's what makes some of them extra special, because when you get them, you know the value of them. But yeah, it's a shame. But on a happier note, let's play the game. And last time Cody challenged me. I have one on my phone now, so I'm going to read it to Cody, see if he can guess it. And please guess along. So this here, we're going to start with a review that is 1.5 stars. The headline is "Avoid it." Overpriced, overrated even at 4 stars. This is simply just a poorly made whiskey lacking any interesting flavors or depth. Hot on the tongue, harsh on the nose, and just less than mediocre on every front. Tried it neat, with a melted ice cube, a splash of soft water, and with various snack foods. Nothing could save it. As a reference, a few of my favourites are Laphroaig 10, Hackashu 12, Johnny Walker Platinum 18, Nikka Straight from the Barrel, Blanton's, and Four Roses. All of these are better for less money, in my opinion.
Okay. I don't think that gave us much of a clue, but
here's another
one.
I'm
trying to think of what they liked.
3.5 stars. Nice, very smooth, but maybe I'm simply an uncultured pleb.
Interesting.
I'm just going to see if I can find some good ones as well for you.
So, let's see. So, you can get all those other whiskies for cheaper. So, is it sitting in like a 50-60 range for whiskey?
The price?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Let's see. Another 5-star review for this whiskey is the best Scotch I have tasted. Oh my god, oh, absolutely amazing. I always thought the old Scotches were a waste of money and tried a few that felt did not warrant the price. However, after trying this one, I was so blown away by the quality, nose, and flavour, I just had to write this.
Okay, so it's an older whiskey. So older than 12, I'd assume. So it's going to be your standard age statements. Is that right?
That is right.
Okay, so it's an older age statement than 12 years old.
Another review, 3 stars. A little plain, nice flavour, but not much different than the 21.
GlenDronach 18.
No.
So I'm trying to think of something that's close. Glenlivet 18.
No. Good for 18, disappointing for 25. Don't get me wrong, this is a really good Scotch, but for a 25, hell no. If you want to be blown away for the same price, Glengoyne 21, you'll thank me later.
So it's a 25-year-old.
Let's see, people are guessing a little bit similar to you.
See someone say Glenfarclas 25 there.
And someone's right.
Well done.
Well done. You got it before Cody. But yeah, this just goes to show that some people will absolutely love Glenfarclas and some people will tell you to avoid that.
Glenfarclas 25, and they said it was rubbish. How much was it?
It is £120.
120 quid.
Yeah.
We don't have Glenfarclas 15 here.
We do.
I will drink this.
Do you want me to do another one?
Yes, do another one. Then I'll do one for you.
Oh, of course. I almost said out loud what I was going to do.
That's not how the game works.
No, that's not how it goes. Let's see this one. Okay, so this is a 0.5 star review. Capital letters, avoid. Capital letters, what the hell is this supposed to be?
Interesting.
What an absolute mess this is. I have drank flavoured water with more depth and flavour than this absolute dishwater. Have a guess? And so Frederick said, come on, everyone likes Glenfarclas.
Apparently not.
Apparently not.
What was it, a 1-star review to start for the 25?
Yeah. 1.5 actually.
1.5.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's got very little flavour to it.
Apparently.
Okay, apparently. It's got very little flavour to it. I can't take a guess on that because that'd be slander to whatever I guess. So I'm not gonna.
Okay, so this is a 5-star review.
Yeah.
Headline, I'm the master reviewer.
Okay.
Listen to me. No, listen to me. I know best. They used the wrong wood.
Okay.
That's a 5-star review.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Say it again.
I'm the master reviewer. Listen to me. No, listen to me. I know best. They used the wrong wood.
5 stars.
Yeah.
Love it. Oh God, this makes it so hard. People's reviews are so rubbish.
I'm trying to find a good one. I mean, there's so many good ones. I just want one that doesn't immediately tell you what it is.
Yeah.
Did see worth coming back to. Horrible bottle though. 4 stars. Mildly dissatisfied at first. It seemed to lack body of old and the nose felt a bit contrived. Took a few drams from the bottle over a couple of weeks and then came back to it. Much, much better. Rich and peppery with lovely caramelized orange fruit and a biscuit sweetness. Long on the palate too with oak, peat and smoke.
Okay. Can you read the Master Malt's official tasting notes for it?
Yes. I'm just going to see the tasting notes. I wonder if that's going to...
I don't think it'll give it away, but it'll help us.
Okay, palate. Rather full with a pleasant depth. Lurking somewhere in this substratum of grilled orange lies. Notes of granary toast with green tea with jasmine, a touch of sweetness. They did not mention what I think is the word that everyone uses for this whiskey. Let's see. Someone guessing. Yeah, Whiskey Central, they were very harsh on that one. I think reviews can be a lot of fun because people get really passionate about it, and some of them are just should be authors. Someone's guessed Lafroig 10, it's not that. White Walker, no. Dalwyn a Winter's Gold, no. Fire and Cane, no.
Springbank 10.
No. But let me see
I'm
if I
just
can
trying to think of
find
whiskies that
one.
have a word that's associated with them. Clynelish.
I see. You're thinking in the right ballpark, but
Okay.
no.
Okay, so give another review.
Okay, what on earth happened to this scotch? 2 stars. What happened to this whiskey? I was always dependently good quality. My last bottle was finished, so I bought this one. My initial reaction was that I'd been sold the wrong thing. This just isn't the excellent brand that I've been drinking for the last 20 years. It tastes cheap. Had the 18, also tastes cheap. I guess someone bought and ruined this brand.
Highland Park 12.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah. Whiskey Central also got it. Highland Park.
Yeah, it's when you said the 18, and I was
Yeah.
thinking it's got like a. Those two are the 12 and 18 are kind of your core Highland Parks.
It is tricky to find bad reviews though, because a lot of them are like 4 and 5. And I think Highland Park also has such a cult following that people love them. So it's just, I mean, this game's just fun to see how different people's minds can be. And I think a lot of the really passionate reviews are just written by comedians.
Yeah, people with very distinct tastes. Okay, I'll give.
Your turn.
I will give you one. Let me just think of
a good one.
Good one to do.
I'm just having a look so we haven't missed anything fun. If I miss whatever you're writing and you have a question or anything, just write again. I'm sorry. I am so happy that so many tuned in, because I sat here, was very scared that it was me talking to Cody, because that's what we do all day.
She doesn't want to talk to me.
I just want to talk to you. But it's been so lovely to chat to you guys. So thank you for being here and in getting involved. And of course, thank you for the birthday wishes and Slanjava Everwind. Is that how I say it? Maybe. But this will of course be available to watch after as well. So if people are tuning in, hi, welcome. Hope you're enjoying it.
You ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay.
I think.
Too simple, I guess. Sorry guys, I couldn't get anything interesting out of this one. I can't find any hints of smoke, and it came across as nice but plain dull. Yes, the care invested on making this smooth, drinkable spirit is noticeable and nice, but I can't point to anything remarkable on it. I guess it's correct, but I wouldn't buy it again. 3 stars.
Okay, they were expecting smoke, but this doesn't tell us a lot, because some people think all Scotch whiskies are peated, but could be something smoky maybe.
Great budget malt, excellent value. One of my favourite day-to-day malt whiskies. The addition of a wee drop of water smooths off any rough edges. Sherry, oak, vanilla, custard, and gingerbread with a light touch of peat.
Interesting.
4.5 stars.
I was also going to say Talisker, Frederick. Talisker 10? No. Someone's guessed Ben Romick. John guesses Lafroig Select.
Nope.
Nope.
I'll give you another one. Half a star. Go with more expensive brands. Okay. Decent S word, inexpensive. That's it.
Something affordable. What price range do people think is affordable? Is it 20 to 30 pounds? Is it 30 to 40 or 40 to 50? Someone guessed Jura.
No.
Not a bad shout. Bowmore number 1, Jones. Nope. I wonder if it's Islay, or I think maybe if it was an Islay whiskey, they would say it's a lot more smoke. So I'm leaning towards maybe something with a hint of smoke, but I'm not sure. Tomintoul Peaty Tang?
No.
Boona Heaven?
I will say that smoke is not the first thing I think of when I...
No, it sounded a bit like
I was kind of trying to put you off with these reviews. Yeah. Because a lot of people are mentioning smoke, to be fair, but it's not what I would think of.
So maybe it is unpeated then, but maybe has a earthy tone. Could it be?
Maybe.
What's earthy?
I have another one. This person says, yes, I'd purchase again. I got fruitcake, then lemon hit me, smooth and easy to drink, a nice starter to any evening. And the one below that is I would not recommend, 1.5 stars. Big whiskey fanatic, admittedly mostly heavily peated, however drunk many other drams, far too tart and with a heavy lemon finish, which by my taste was much too heavy, didn't enjoy it at all, which is a shame as it was a gift. Hot toddy material at best, not a nice easy drinking whiskey. The overwhelming sourness of the citrus notes just isn't pleasant.
Anok 12.
No,
Hmm.
but
So,
closer.
closer. So it's unpeated, maybe. Could it be Highlands? Someone guess Oban 14.
It is Highlands.
It is Highlands. That's a good clue. Because half of all the distilleries are in the Highlands. No, not quite, but the Highlands are a big place. Citrus seemed quite outstanding in that one.
Mm.
Is it? Would you say personally you think this is more of a citrus dram than a smoky dram?
Yes.
Okay.
Personally, yes.
Citrus. Tomas and Legacy.
No.
Ardmore.
No.
No. Another clue.
Let's see. I will give you the official tasting notes, or the ones given on Master of Malt anyway.
Yeah.
Their nose is creamy, some sherry fruit with a trailing hint of smoke. So they do mention a little drop of smoke. Prune, custard, and espresso bean. Palate, sweet, malty, a gentle peat, but nonetheless the mouthfeel is very clean. Vanilla, peaches and cream, and subtle oak. Finish, ginger malt, nutty nougat, and maybe a little grapefruit zest.
So I'm guessing it's sherry cask
It's
and
35 pounds
lightly peated.
on Master Malt.
35. Was lightly peated and sherried. Someone said Dalmore 15.
I will say it is a 12-year-old whiskey.
12-year-old. Highland Park 12.
Hmm?
Highland Park
No,
12.
that's not the
Oh, this is a tricky one. Someone said Glendronach peated.
You can find it in supermarkets.
Oh, interesting. I haven't looked at whiskies in supermarkets for a long time. Highlands. Is an Islands one, do you think? Royal Brackla?
You have reviewed many of these on your channel.
Many of these. Aberlour? No. Someone said Loch Lomond, but I've not reviewed a lot of Loch
If
Lomond.
I was to guess, I would
It's a very
say,
niche
I would say
clue
it's
for
the
me.
most reviewed whiskey on your channel.
Oh, I should know this, but I kind of forget things as soon as I've reviewed them. Oh. What distilleries are in the Highlands that I have reviewed a lot of? What have I reviewed on my channel?
Nobody knows.
Aberfeldy.
Correct. Aberfeldy 12.
I thought of Aberfeldy by Sid Aberlour. That was a good one. Peated. I mean, do they not have like a tiny amount of peat in?
They used to peat in the 60s, I think, but I don't think it is peated now.
Tricky though. Very tricky, don't we think?
Yeah.
But it's a fun game though.
That might be a case of, since the official notes say smoke, everyone's expecting it
smoke.
on Master Malt anyway, which is probably where they bought it. And they're going, I'm not finding it.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's fair.
If they do peat, it would be a very small ppm.
Someone said, oh no, I have an unopened bottle of Aberfeldy 12.
By the way, I really like Aberfeldy 12. It's
Same.
really, really nice. I'm reading out the bad reviews on here, but it's a great whiskey. Probably the best distillery tour I've ever done as well. We knew the person at the tour, and it was snowing when we arrived. I say we, Mo wasn't there, but when I arrived, and it was great. We went out to the waterfall at the back of the distillery where they get their water from, and
Pitilly Barnes.
yeah, they had a little basket, and you opened the basket, and inside it was the new make, which was, I think it was like 70 point something.
That's what runs in the
it was like 70%, and they made whiskey hot toddies out of it. So the new make, and then honey and hot water. So we're sitting in the snow looking at the waterfall with this ridiculously strong new make hot toddy, and then we got Dewar's 12 as well, and then we went inside and had hundreds of drams and wobbled out in the snow, and it was great. It was so good. That was such a good distillery tour. So yeah, Aberfeldy's a really nice dram, and they did say citrus. I think it is a really good hot toddy whiskey as well.
Yeah, it is.
Really
Especially
nice.
with the new make was also really lovely.
Yeah, because it's strong, which is what you want. Right, I'll do one more.
I was going to say, I got a question from Mickey, who is a friend who works for Macmillan here in Scotland, and he had a question and asked you, how do you put up with me?
She gets a lot of whiskey, so it's great. So that's the reason I put up with her. And she's pretty.
I feel so loved.
Yeah.
Hopefully he'll have to be super nice to me tomorrow because it's my birthday and I've already made an order for breakfast in bed. So
I know.
I feel like he's going to make me stay in bed like forever.
She's going to get the worst breakfast she's ever had in bed. So it's fine. Let's find a new whiskey to review.
Exciting. If you're playing this game with your friends, I can highly recommend sticking to Core Range because they tend to have a lot of reviews, so you can find both good and bad ones. And I think it's fun to start with the ones that are just super vague, but then have some of the comments that are like, oh, this tastes like honey and leather, and then you might be like, oh, Highland Park. We also used to play the game of mystery drams when we were able to go to bars with friends. You just buy someone a dram and they go mystery drams, and then they have to guess what it is, and you can give them some niche clues and some clues. Oh, I really miss this.
I'll do an easier one.
Okay.
Just to make it a bit quicker. So this is 2.5 stars, and I'm just going to read the first line of this, which is, I have to say this is the worst I've had from Islay.
Okay, so it's an Islay, hopefully.
Yeah.
Can we guess? On only that one, can you guess? The worst one from Islay.
Interesting, yeah. I wonder what people say.
I don't want to guess myself. What would people not like? I think people could say that I'm not going to say Ardbeg 10 because you had it last time. But I think some people wouldn't like Ardbeg 10 because it's quite big in smoke. But if they know Islay, then maybe what else? Do another one. Someone said Lagavulin.
This is quite strange. Very strong citrus and strange taste.
Colilla 12?
I think people should just put down their thoughts and I'll give them the answer and see which camp wins.
So Andrew said Lagavulin. Whiskey Central says Colilla 12. Donner Pass Whiskey says just that Bowmore. Yeah, Bowmore. I guessing someone's drinking an Islay Scotch and they hope it's not that one. Someone's guessed for Ardbeg 10.
I will give one more clue and then you can take a guess. If you get a distillery right, then you can get yourself a winner.
We just have all the different, just write the ones no one's guessed.
And
you might
the first line of this one is my favourite among the cheaper Islas. Best Islas. Cheaper bodied single malt. 5 stars.
Interesting.
Would you have a guess?
Oh, I don't know which ones are citrus. Have they mentioned smoke?
No, but it is beard.
Okay. I was like, I got it, but I didn't. I mean, I want a citrus. I wouldn't say Lafroig. I wouldn't say Ardbeg. I wouldn't probably not say Lagavulin. I want to say Colilla, but I say Colilla for everything, and I'm always wrong. Okay, my guess is Colilla.
The answer is Bowmore. It's Bowmore 12.
Nice. Someone has guessed Bowmore, so well done. I also saw that John had a question for you. When does Exodia arrive?
It's stuck at the kennel.
Okay.
You're not getting a dog. You're not getting your dog.
I mean, I did get a dog.
Oh yeah, I did actually get her a dog. So I take that back.
Someone said they think Lafroig Quarter Cask is a bit citrusy. I think Lafroig can have a really fruity character, which is quite interesting.
Yeah, if you can get past that sort of medicinal note, it is actually, especially older Lafroig, becomes quite tropical in a sense. It can be quite nice.
Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking, I know we're stealing people's time away from them. So we thought maybe we should round it up soon. But if you have any questions or just something we should chat about, I mean, we're not doing anything because we're in lockdown and yeah, we just want to chat to you. So we're happy to stay, but I don't want to steal your Saturday nights away in case you have any marvelous plans.
Everyone's doing tons of stuff at the moment, I think.
Yeah, we'll see what we're doing tomorrow. Some Fredrik wants good whiskey recommendations, Swedish whiskey recommendations. I really want to recommend High Coast. I really like the one called Elv, which is ex-bourbon, surprise, and unpeated, which I think is lovely. Their old one, when they were still called Box American Oak, is also the one that got me hooked on High Coast. And I mean, just the thing that we met Lars Karlsson, who works at the distillery. He lives on the opposite side of the water where the distillery lies, and he takes the boat to work. And I saw that I think the distillery manager, Roger Melander, he skied to work the other day. This is my dream distillery. Can I work there? No, but they do really lovely whiskey. It's quite robust, often a lot kind of a wood influence. But yeah, I want to say High Coast Elv. Or any of those, I think, are lovely. That series. You can choose kind of peated, you can choose cherried, you can choose unpeated bourbon. So it's a good range. I mean, Mackmyra, I like the Bruks whiskey because it's super, super fruity. Or for smoke, I like the Svensk Rök Amerikansk Ek. Do you have any Swedish whiskey recommendations?
No. I do like a lot of the Swedish ones, but I wouldn't be able to pick out
Sounds like a heathen.
No.
No, cannot recommend any of them.
No, there's a lot of good stuff coming out of Sweden, but I don't know which one I'd specifically choose.
One that I'm really excited to try is the rye whiskey coming from a brand called Blind Seal. Hopefully, I'll be able to try a sample soon. I think it's on its way on the post because they have 2-year-old rye in just a few weeks. So, it's not on its way because it'll be of age in a few weeks. But that will be an interesting rye whiskey to keep track of. And I really want to try more of Vian Smagen and other distilleries as well. Hopefully one day, maybe Gotland as well.
I'm saying, what's your favourite Irish?
Yeah. Teeling Small Batch is my favourite Irish whiskey at the moment. It was a whiskey that I drank quite a lot of in 2020. Because I thought it was really nice. Smooth. The rum character came through in a nice way where you can still taste the whiskey, but also the character of rum, instead of just making it woody or super sweet.
Very affordable as well. It was on sale at Waitrose for £16, 25p.
Yeah.
Which is really good.
But I mean, there's a lot of, I think it's the yellow spots I really like as well. The red breasts are nice. I mean, I really want to explore more Irish whiskey, but it's easier to get a hold of Scotch in Scotland, believe it or not. But hopefully one day.
I'm not sure when Lindors are releasing. They've done their sort of trials to pick out what their single malt's going to be from the cask they have.
Which I was a little bit surprised by.
I think they're releasing their whiskey to their Founders Club first.
Yeah.
Their cask club or whatever they have.
Yeah.
They're going to be the first ones to do it.
Because I think the plan was to wait a few years longer than 3.
Yeah,
so...
they've got bourbon, they've got STR, they have sherry. And I think it's a combo somewhere in between those 3, which is what their single malt's going to be. But I don't actually know when it'll be viable for the average smuck who's not part of their Founders Club. But from the stuff we've tried, it was really nice. So
yeah, I'm super excited to try it when it comes out. We're holding our thumbs, as we say in Sweden, but keeping fingers crossed. Oh, we have someone joining us from Iceland. How lovely. I haven't tried the Icelandic whiskey yet, but it sounds fascinating. I mean, I also had a question on Instagram asking what whiskey are you the most excited to try that you haven't tried yet? And it's just whiskey from the New World whiskey countries, like Iceland. I haven't tried a lot from France, and I know the South Africa is doing some whiskey. So I'm just excited to try those. Are you having any specific ones that you haven't tried that you're excited about?
No.
I mean, I'd love
any
to
whiskey's good whiskey. Terrible answers for me, I know, but I wouldn't say there's one place that I'm
It's like all of them.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Any if I've not tried it, I'm looking forward to trying it.
Would you recommend Icelandic whiskey? It's called Floki, I think. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that right.
I think I've had it.
Have you?
I don't remember. And I don't mean that, as I said at the start of the stream, where it's like if I forget the whiskey straight away, I don't like it. This was just because it was ages ago, and I think I was very drunk when I had it. I think a friend had been given it on a tour from an Icelandic traveller. And then we went to the pub and had lots of pints. And then we pulled it out.
That's what tends to happen.
I'm not going to remember it after that. But I think I did try it. I think it was Harry that got it.
Oh, nice. Well, they're saying that it's the Icelandic whiskey is getting better, so it'll be exciting to try. It is. I'm quite fascinated by whiskey maturing in cold climates, how that affects it, especially more north than Scotland, because of course people talk about the cold, humid maturation here, but then in Scandinavia and the Nordic countries and further north, it's just interesting to see what happens with that. Yeah. I was like, what else? But yeah, I'm looking forward to trying things like that. And Norwegian whiskey as well. Just tried some Finnish whiskey thanks to Tony, which is also really interesting. I think the history behind it, especially, is fascinating.
Do you want to say anything that's coming up soon for the channel that you've got coming up?
Well, I'm chatting a little bit about what it's like judging whiskey for a whiskey competition, which I hope will be exciting. I'm trying the Aberlour Distillery Reserves, which I did an unboxing for the other day. And always fun things planned. I don't want to reveal everything, but Cody will be guesting as well because I know a lot of people are liking it. And of course, I hope to do more live streams in the future as well. So if you have any themes or anything you would like us to do, let us know. Any guests? Yeah, hopefully. We're happy to round it off there, maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
Thank you so much for joining us. It's been such a pleasure. I've had the best Saturday evening I've had in a long time. So thank you so much for tuning in and having a drop with us.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks to all Mo's Patreons as well. It really helps keep everything going, especially when we're stuck inside. So it's really nice to have you guys. But yeah, hope everyone has a dram. Slán.
Skål.
Ding.
See you later.
Bye.